When I was 6 months old, I was adopted from Russia. I was raised in a home with two parents that loved me, and I grew up Catholic. There was never any talk of Jesus in my house. I left Catholic school in 9th grade, and I ended up going to public school. I already didn't fit in private school, and public school made it way worse for me. I had a harder time fitting in. I didn't really know who I was. I didn't really have a sense of purpose or identity. I started hanging out with all the kids who did drugs and skipped class and didn't really care. That kind of became my whole identity throughout school, was just getting high and not caring about anything, not worrying about my future. After I graduated high school, going to college wasn't really an option for me because of my poor grades. And I met a guy online. He was kind of like my first boyfriend. He never had a job, and so I was the one that needed to provide for both of us. We lived in Atlanta. We had a really nice apartment. We had really nice things. While I was making tons and tons of money, I started doing drugs really heavily. As time went on, I just fell deeper and deeper down that rabbit hole. He had started to phase out of my life, and I didn't really even notice, and he stopped coming home one day. I was so messed up that I didn't really even notice. Around that time is when I found out that I was about 7 weeks pregnant. My doctor was explaining to me my options, and I don't know why, but something prompted me to keep my child, and I smoked and drank and did drugs all throughout my pregnancy. I gave birth to a perfectly healthy baby girl. I decided the best thing for both of us was to give her up for adoption, and at 2 weeks old, I met with an adoption agency and I signed all the paperwork and I gave her up for adoption. I was still miserable. I was still depressed. I still wanted to live my life exactly how I wanted to. I couldn't figure out why my lifestyle was just bringing me more pain and more emptiness, and every little thing I thought it would make me better or make me happy or make me invincible. I don't know. Everything that I did just brought me down. I was just kind of like a shell of a person. I didn't have an identity. I didn't feel like I had a spot in this world. My drug use got harder, and my life was just spiraling. And eventually, my mom had enough, and she called the cops. And I was arrested and put in jail for a month. I spent my 21st birthday in jail, and it took me a few hours to realize that this wasn't me, this wasn't who I was supposed to be, and this wasn't the lifestyle I was supposed to be living. When I got out of jail, the judge sentenced me to a year in rehab, which ended up being a Christian discipleship home for women with life-dominating issues. I was there for 11 months and I hated it, and I was just trying to graduate the program and just get back to my life. 11 and a half months of the program, I finally gave my life to Christ. I finally understood what living for Jesus meant and what being a Christian truly meant. I was just refreshed and renewed. I didn't have to live with the weight of the things that I did anymore. I didn't have to live feeling dirty and ashamed and walk around with a dark cloud hanging over my head. I felt like I could just hold my head up and smile for the first time. After that, I moved back home and I started coming to church with my parents. I totally fell in love with Jesus. I totally fell in love with my community, and I fell in love with the new life that I was living. It was just freeing, and there were no bad consequences with this kind of life. There was no looking over my shoulder. There was no waking up and figuring out how to get high. It was just peace that I couldn't really grasp, and I still can't grasp. Giving my daughter up for adoption was definitely the best choice I could have made for both of us. At the time, there's no way I could have provided for a child Today, she's happy and healthy, and she has amazing Christian parents, and she's so loved. Every time I look at her, it's just it's like physical evidence of God being there for me and watching out for me. And I know He's watching out for her too. And I'm so grateful that He orchestrated my steps even when I had no idea who He was. Like, I knew that He was always there. Like, He was always with me. He was always protecting me. He was always looking out for me, even when I was doing stupid stuff. And I look back over my life and I can see all of those little moments when I should have been dead, or I should have been hurt, or I should have been in jail for way longer. And by the grace of God, I'm not.